Okay. Round two, I just tried to make this video, but Ryder downstairs started clanking around a cup on the ground. Got too nutty. So this is something that's really dear to my heart. I talk about ketogenic diet a lot, how it's a powerful tool, not only for fat loss, but for taking control of our health, right? Diet has a direct effect on our inflammation levels, on our levels of health, on our cognitive function, and dialing in a healthy diet and lifestyle is crucial to anybody who wants to maximize their effectiveness in life, right? So an article popped up. Somebody sent me this article from Psychology Today, which in my opinion is pretty trash corporate rag historically. But anyway, Psychology Today on the, what section is it? In the Diagnosis Diet section, a woman wrote a pretty nice little review of ketogenic diets for psychiatric disorders. And I thought that this was really cool because she kind of collected together several studies that I've seen, and this completely backs up what I've seen in the real world, right? With working with hundreds of clients, with seeing people transform their relationship with food, transform their relationship with their body, and transform their relationship with their direct environment using simple lifestyle changes like a ketogenic diet, right? When you start eating a ketogenic diet, Ryder's hyped. When you start eating a ketogenic diet, most individuals who are doing keto are doing it for fat loss. Many people are now starting to understand the benefits that can have on cognitive function, on mood, and even for like personality disorders. But when many people start out keto, they feel a marked improvement in their mental clarity. This can be due to the increase in GABA production and the neuroprotective neurotransmitters that are produced in ketogenic state, the reduction in inflammation that ketones seem to bring, that they do bring. We all know about the gut-brain axis, right? The gut and the brain are intimately connected through the vagus nerve. The gut bacteria can affect our mood, our behavior, and our personality profoundly. There was a study, and this doesn't have to do with the Psychology Today article that I'm talking about. Hey, Duke, chill. Stop it. There was a study that looked at the microbiome changes associated with a ketogenic diet in treatment for multiple sclerosis. Is a mouthful, right? So they looked at somebody who had multiple sclerosis and changes. They looked at the changes in the gut microbiome that were associated with massive changes in cognition and improvement in their symptoms. This is really, really fascinating to me. A ketogenic diet, you know, rather than prescribing psychiatric meds to people, it seems to be that some of these psychologists are starting to utilize a ketogenic diet. I'm sorry, psychiatrists. Psychologists, I don't think prescribe stuff. But many psychiatrists, it seems, are starting to look at the effectiveness of dietary changes to maintain stable brain chemistry, right? People seek drugs, sex addiction, alcohol, pornography. There's all kinds of ways that people regulate their dopamine levels. Many of them are incredibly unhealthy, the ones I just named right now, right? So let's look at this. Let's look at this article from Psychology Today and kind of go through some of the points and maybe talk about whatever comes to my mind as we do this. So she talks about ketogenic diet. She gives a basic breakdown of what keto is. Diet that is typically very low in carbohydrate, typically 20 grams per day or less, and relatively high in fat. The goal is to lower blood sugar and insulin levels. When these are nice and low, the body naturally turns to fat instead of sugar as its primary source of energy. Most ketogenic diets also limit protein to no more than the body requires, because excess protein can raise blood sugar and insulin levels to some extent. Body fat and fat from the diet then break down into ketones, which travel through the bloodstream and can be burned by various cells throughout the body, including most brain cells. Ketone levels rise in the blood, urine, and breath within days and can be measured using various home test methods, but it can take weeks for the body to become efficient at burning fat for energy and for full benefits to be realized. All right. So then she goes to talk about some of the some summaries of some of these case studies and whatnot. Now, Dietary intervention studies, especially when you're looking at this realm, like psychiatric health, very, very difficult, right? It's so hard to control any factors in somebody's life that's going to affect their behavioral and psychological health. And diet is super hard to control. I mean, even in like anything outside of a metabolic ward study, diet studies are very, very hard. It's super hard to control them. Double blind is really hard to do with it. So there's limitations. Not all these studies are perfect, but they're interesting and they seem to point in the direction of truth that I've seen manifest in the real world. So let's see. Ketogenic diets and bipolar disorder. A case study of 2 women with bipolar II disorder who ate a ketogenic diet, one for 2 years, the other for 3 years, found that the diet was superior to the anticonvulsant / mood stabilizer lamotrigine. In management of symptoms, ketosis was documented using urine test strips. All right, so there you go. Ketosis documenting using urine test strips, not the best metric, right? Terrible metric. Doesn't tell you if you're in ketosis long term. The urine test strips work in the beginning when you're wasting and spilling ketones through your urine and excreting them. But still sounds like a very interesting study. We've got 2 years and 3 years, and the diet was superior to the anticonvulsant and mood stabilizer drug that they were taking. I would wager that if you looked up the side effects of this drug, lamotrigine, that those side effects would probably be much more daunting than the side effects of a ketogenic diet, which often include improved mood, improved stability of mental clarity, constant energy throughout the day, lower inflammation, improvements in the gut microbiome. Wow, how interesting. Much rather have those side effects than the possible side effects of a psychiatric drug that's incredibly expensive. And I guess a ketogenic diet is energetically expensive, especially at the beginning, because you have to change your life, right? And that's what I think the secret is here for a lot of these individuals. You're taking control of your vessel. You're taking control of what you feed your vessel. And then you start to see and recognize the habits and the patterns that keep us in our comfy little prisons. So by simply making decisions to take control of our life, our health, and our diet, we're taking a huge step forward in self-responsibility, which is massive for mental, psychological, emotional health. Okay, so let's move on. Ketogenic diets and schizophrenia. A 3-week studies in mice showed that ketogenic diet normalized pathological behaviors. Well, that's a mice study, okay. A 2-week study of 10 women with treatment refractory schizophrenia found a significant decrease in symptoms when a ketogenic diet was added to their ongoing standard treatments. There you go. So ketogenic diet, not in replacement of treatment for schizophrenia, but here it was added to as an adjunct therapy. It seemed to be effective. A 12-month case study details the experience of a 70-year-old overweight woman with chronic schizophrenia who was prescribed a diet limited to 20 grams carbohydrate per day. She noted significant improvement in severe symptoms beginning only 8 days after starting the diet, which consisted of beef, poultry, ham, fish, green beans, tomatoes, diet drinks, and water. So, in my opinion, not even an optimally formulated ketogenic diet. But this woman reported complete resolution of auditory and visual hallucinations associated with her schizophrenia, with which she'd suffered since age 7. Ketone levels were not monitored. Whoa. Not even monitoring ketone levels. Completely resolving her auditory and visual hallucinations. Pretty interesting. All right, then there's a few rat studies on anxiety, ketone supplements added to a standard high-carb diet, reducing anxious behavior, likely due to the GABA increase, the balancing neurotransmitters, the neuroprotective neurotransmitter. Ketogenic diets and autism spectrum disorder. 10 to 14-day rat study found that ketogenic diet improved complex social behaviors and mitochondrial function. So some rat studies. Here's another one. A 6-month inpatient study evaluated the effects of a cyclical ketogenic diet, 4 weeks on, 2 weeks off, on 30 children with autism spectrum disorder. Of the 18 children who completed the study, so there you go, only 18 were able to complete the study, but 8 showed moderate improvement, 2 showed significant improvement. That's all right. Not the greatest results there. Benefits appeared to persist even during the 2-week diet-free periods. Urine and blood ketone monitoring confirmed that all children were in ketosis. And I'm still seems to be better results than many approved pharmaceutical drugs, but not the most impressive one there. Here's another, just a case study. 14-month detailed case study of one child with autism, epilepsy, and obesity. Found, in addition to improvement in seizures, there was a 60-pound weight loss, as well as improved cognitive and language function, marked improvement in social skills, increased calmness, and complete resolution of stereotypies. I'm not sure if that's a typo or what. Stereotypies? I don't know. Anyways, nice little review here from Psychology Today, looking at some of the research out there on the ketogenic diet used for psychological and psychiatric disorders. I think where there's smoke, there's fire. And this is something that people should look into a little bit more deeply. Of course, it's hard to control for. But what's more important here is not that scientists say. Well, scientists say. So you must believe what I say. Who cares about all this stuff? This is interesting. It's limited in scope. It's limited in accuracy and perspective. But what is important is in your individual life. If you're taking control of your diet, taking control of your health, taking responsibility, then we often see marked improvements in all aspects of our life. And a ketogenic diet's not the only way to do that. I mean, simply changing to an unrefined whole foods diet, removing processed foods and processed carbohydrates, right? And the processed fats too, the trans fats, the omega-6 fatty acids, and the vegetable oils and stuff. Getting off the industrial waste diet that is destroying our health, our microbiome, the microbiome of our soil, and our environment, and our food sovereignty, and our seed supply. All right? Getting off that industrial waste diet and getting on a natural diet, right? Unprocessed, unrefined foods, whole, nutritious foods can make huge improvements in our health, inflammation levels, and of course, therefore, our mental and psychological health. I had an email pulled up here that I wanted to share some parts of this. So the story of a guy I worked with. Brad's on his own now. But Brad was a client of mine for about 6 months. And he hit me up at week 4. He'd been about 230 to 250 for years. I think he might have been 250 when we started. So he had lost a significant amount of weight in about 4 weeks, and he gave me an update after about 4 weeks. And basically, here's what he said. I'll give you a little excerpt from Brad's email. Brad's an awesome dude. So I'm chalking the slight stall in weight loss up to increased gym activity. My clothes are fitting much better, even looser sometimes, but I haven't lost in the last week. So he kind of hit a little stall here, which wasn't really a stall because his clothes were fitting looser, right? And he was gaining lean muscle mass because he was working out. So he's adding lean muscle mass and losing body fat at the same time. So Brad said, I've even received a few compliments regarding the bit of weight I've lost. I'm most proud of the compliments I've received from close friends and family who've noticed improvements in my mood and overall attitude. I can't thank you enough for showing me the path. I still have a long way to go, though. If you don't mind, I'd like to re-up with you for another coaching period. Okay, so Brad was doing a ketogenic diet for only about 4 weeks. Marked and noticeable improvements in his mood and overall attitude, and the feedback that he was getting from his friends and family was incredible. So later on, Brad, it just kept getting better and better for Brad. When I first talked to him, he was a little bit subdued. He was a little bit, I don't know, just had more anxiety. You can kind of feel it on him, right? But after a few weeks, every single month when we would meet, he would be more lively, more vibrant, more hyped on life. And he would have all kinds of stories of like just enjoying life more. Not even diet related, right? He ended up helping a lot of people around him to shift their diets around. They were inspired by what he did. And he kind of became this nexus point of change and of influencing people positively in his life. So that's one little example right there. I see all the time people telling me, people send me emails all the time. People who aren't even my clients send me emails all the time telling me how amazing they feel simply from taking responsibility and changing their diet and eating a nutrient-dense, whole foods-based diet and caring for their body, caring for their vessel, treating it well, right? You treat your body well, not just so you can have a great looking body, because who cares, right? It's about substance. It's about what you do with it. What are you doing with that tool you got there? Right? What's the meaning of even owning that body? Now, the body can serve the mind. The body can serve you and your intention and your will, but you've got to respect it, right? And taking control of our diet, taking control of our health, respecting the body allows us more energy, more life, to do meaningful things, to fill our space with meaning, with love, with life.